This is Sports Charlotte, the podcast about sports in Charlotte. My name is Herb White. I'm editor-in-chief of the Charlotte Post. And as per usual, this is Cameron Williams, who is a staff reporter at the Post. It's Thursday, July 10, 2025. It's the middle of summer.
We know it.
Yeah, it's toasty all around. There's a wave of wet humidity going on around here.
It's a swamp.
Yes, it is, with all kinds of stuff going on, including NBA Summer League play. And the Charlotte Hornets are one day away from tipping off their part of the summer. And is there any energy growing for this in a summer where everybody's talking about Cooper Flag?
Oh, well, every team's going to be, well, I guess every fan base could be excited for their team. I mean, look, Cooper Flag's going to be the story. They're making this kid out to, I mean, they've only really done this with maybe one other player, and that's Victor Wembanyama. They're making this guy out to be like the next LeBron. I mean, now, he's got all the tools, and Cooper's Cooper, but as a Hornets reporter, there's a little, no pun intended, buzz around the team. I mean, it's natural to be excited in the summer when you're constantly in that top 5 to top 10, area as far as where you pick in the draft. It's easy to get excited because you got young players that are looking to make an impact right away. And I think you're going to find that. You're going to have all the rookies that are going to be playing in the summer league. So you're going to see everyone that was drafted. A lot of returnees to the summer league. So it'll be unique. It'll be interesting, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to covering it. They play all the top 5 teams, top 5, because the Hornets were 4th, and they play the Mavericks, they play the Jazz, and they play the Spurs. So what more can you? Oh, and the Sixers. So what more can you ask for?
Well, by the time they get to the Mavericks, Coop may have literally flown the coop because that's like 2-3 games in.
Yeah.
And I would imagine the Mavericks are not going to expose this guy to the remotest possibility of injury. And so if he has a really good first game, I would think they would just pack his bags and put him in bubble wrap until it's time for training camp.
Well, so you would think that, but then again, I mentioned this a few weeks ago. Paolo Banchero was the number 1 overall pick, and he played well into the summer league too. So it's like, where do you draw the line as a GM or as a coach of what they call risk management or load management? You don't want to risk an injury to one of your best players, and obviously your number 1 pick. But you want to play him enough to kind of get him conditioned. I mean, I know you're not conditioning him against other NBA level competition because a lot of these summer league rosters
are dudes you'll never hear from again
until next summer,
or
in the G League or something like that. So yeah, there's that. But from a Hornets perspective, look, I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad we're able to access all the games. I think they're not going to show any on NBA TV or whatever. There'll be some on that, but YouTube TV has NBA TV now, so yes. But at any rate, it'll be fun. Tomorrow night, July the 11th, 7 p.m., Utah Jazz. That's intriguing to me just because will Ace Bailey show up and show out and go for like 30 and be like, haha, should have taken me? Or will Nibble show up and be like, knock down 4 or 5 threes, be like, see, this is why you took me. So there's little things like that, little trivial things that are entertaining too. So,
but the other side of that is it's summer league. It's a bunch of rookies and guys who are trying to get into the NBA by hook or crook. And yeah, they may play with a certain amount of intensity, but it won't replicate an NBA game. So you can't really draw a whole lot of conclusions from any of this stuff. All you can hope to do is make sure that the kids that you are really invested in don't get hurt or really stink it up, because then the concerns and the accusations will start flying. You shouldn't have taken this guy. What were you thinking? Those types of things. And with the Hornets, because they have 4 draft picks in there, they have an opportunity to see who can actually separate themselves, if anyone, through the summer league, and understanding that it's not going to necessarily be a harbinger of things to come, but you can start to figure out, well, who is showing some readiness. You're never going to be totally ready as a rookie playing against other rookies, but who seems to be able to have something going on where they can say, well, maybe taking that leap won't be such a big deal to this individual or these individuals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, overall, I think it'll be a good gauge of kind of like you mentioned, where these rookies are in terms of their ability to contribute right away, or if they need to spend a season or half a season with the Swarm up in the G-Borough.
Yeah. Well, and is there a player who really needs to have a strong summer league to justify being drafted at all? Or in the case of my man King Con Knipple, will he justify that number 4 overall pick?
I think he will. I think the guy you're looking at this summer that needs to have a little bit justification, at least from a fan's perspective, is Sion James. And if he goes out there and he doesn't perform like at all, and they're wondering like, why did you even draft this guy? This guy ain't even G League material. Then at least fans kind of scratching their heads like, well, we just wasted a pick. If he goes out there and he has production, I'm not talking massive production. I'm talking 6-7 points a game, few assists here and there. Plays solid defense, which the Hornets, when they drafted him, they knew that was kind of his forte. Then they're like, okay, we can see drafting him. Now let's send him to what was the D League. Now it's the G League. The Development League. Kind of put him in a situation where he can thrive a little bit more, develop some offensive ability, things like that, and then can move up back on the Hornets roster eventually. That's what I think you're looking for. Now, if he goes out there and just falls on his face, it's going to be a problem.
Well, the other side of that is second-round draft picks typically, and I use the word typically, aren't going to be leaned on in terms of, can you actually improve our team? You're a second rounder for a reason.
Like you said, typically. KJ Simpson, when there was a lot of injuries for the Hornets last year, KJ Simpson had to perform really well to even get a couple wins here and there. Very few and far between, but even stay in games, he was having to put on pretty solid performances for a second round pick. So I'll say the Hornets are an outlier in that instance, because sometimes they lean on the second rounders a little too heavily.
Well, but the other side of that is the Hornets were so bad last year, and they had so many injuries until it was basically an open door for auditions. And those rookies, those young people who were drafted last year, they had plenty of opportunity to get their feet wet in terms of the NBA, not only the NBA game, but its physicality, its lifestyle. Those types of things are invaluable when you talk about being able to get indoctrinated early and often when it comes to something like this. And I don't think anybody would make the mistake of saying that those draft picks from last year were NBA ready, but they got an opportunity because of all the things that were going on with that roster to make those contributions, no matter how small or tangential they were.
Yeah, fair enough. I still, much like the Tedro McMillan pick for the Panthers, I'm still kind of questioning the Tijon Salon pick.
But did you see video of him earlier this week where he talked about being able to make that switch to the second season, and he looked like he would actually put on a little bit of weight.
Yeah, and he understands English a little better.
Speaks it a mile better.
Right.
I was impressed by that. I mean, physically, he looks like a different person, and it just looks like he's matured to the point of, the lights don't impress him as much now. But that's part of growing up. Last year, the English was not necessarily the best. Of course, you can say that about Americans too, but
Yeah.
that's beside the point. And basketball wise, he looks like he is ready to make some contributions.
Well, that'll be good just to see because obviously everyone's talking about Khan. They're talking about Liam and Ryan Kalkbrenner, blah blah blah. But how are these second year guys going to fare? KJ Simpson's on the roster, T-John's on the roster. How are they going to contribute? I expect to see T-John starting. I expect to see some form of lineup or some sort of lineup where you have Khan in there with Liam and T-John and maybe Ryan. But then who's going to run your point guard? We'll leave that up for the coach.
Well, but the truth of the matter is we're now in an era of positionless basketball. And
true.
So who's to say King Khan Kniffle might be running some point before you know it. I mean,
Sion James ran point at Duke.
Well,
there were times when he would run point at Duke. So who knows?
So this is a good opportunity for all of them. And like I said, it's not like it's going to be NBA regular season or postseason. Heaven forbid, intense. You're not going to get that. But this is an opportunity where it's more than a glorified pickup game. You want to see how people play together. Is it a matter of you've got people who will play as a team, or do you have dudes who are just willing to try to get as much shine for themselves playing as an individual? And I would imagine that the Hornets are going to be keenly interested in who plays as a team.
Very much so. Well, as pun incredibly intended, we pivot to talk about another form of ball that won't happen quite just yet. But the ACC and AAC media days, weeks are coming up.
They're coming here.
They're coming here and they're coming up. 2 weeks time, roughly. We'll see. It's Thursday. In 2 weeks time, that's when Duke, UNC, and all those. It'll be packed. Okay. Football's right around the corner. Are you excited?
I'm always excited for football. I mean, the season never ends, and I am so glad because it is just. It's not necessarily even the dramatic moments. It's just the grind of football. There's the recruiting, there's coaching changes, and now with the transfer portal,
oh Lord,
who's transferring? NIL, even though that's still a hot mess, who's getting paid and by whom and what? And it's the professionalization, dare I say, of the collegiate game. And it is a brand new territory for some folks who are not accustomed to that with college football. But if you've covered the NFL, that's business as usual, except for the transfer portal. It's like, okay, this is free agency really beefed up.
I just think it's crazy looking at all these attendees that are going to be there for ACC media days. A couple familiar faces just from the Charlotte area. Frank Reich. Head coach at Stanford.
Yeah.
Then on down the list, obviously the Bill Belichick era at Carolina is still hanging on by a thread, I would say.
Is he bringing friends?
I gotta pull this up while we're talking about this because I saw a tweet that was pretty wild. Let's see. So numerous emails from university donors have basically expressed their displeasure in the Bill Belichick hiring, saying it's, quote, disgrace to the university. Some of the emails have even said they're pulling all their donations, they're pulling all their funds that they donate to, whether it be NIL or just the general athletic fund. And I'm like, for so long last year when all this was going down and the rumors started, kind of chirping about, so many people wanted this guy. They're like, that would be such a great hire, such a great get. Get rid of Mac Brown and all this stuff. Let's get a Super Bowl winning coach in here. Now that they realize Coach came with some baggage, some 24-year-old baggage.
Good looking baggage, but okay.
Here we go with that. I ain't getting all that. But my
Uh-huh.
point is, she runs a tight ship, so to speak, and the fan base is seeing right through it, and they don't like it. Does he survive a year? I know Pablo Torres, maybe?
Torre.
Torres, okay. He's like, I see it being a one and done type deal.
I look at it like this. When North Carolina was courting Bill Belichick, where was the outrage then? When you're talking about a 73-year-old coach who is, without a doubt, one of the greatest coaches in NFL history. He's 73 years old. The NFL teams didn't want to hire him. Shouldn't that have sent a red flag right off the top?
Well, it should have, but the red flags didn't start coming in until they realized Jordan schedules his day for him.
That only put the cherry on top. The flags were being sent by NFL squads. And so I guess I can understand why the North Carolina folks were thinking, oh, this dude has won 6 Super Bowls total, and why not? If his greatness can translate to our campus, we should go for it. But I've told you and anybody else who listens, we all come with a use by date. Bill Belichick's use by date has come and gone, and North Carolina did the deal anyway. So you get what you get when you do what you do.
But Carolina fans are the type that they'll get what they get, and they still throw a fit.
That's typical. But
is his use by date? Is it like to where the milk's just starting to stink, or is there curds up in there?
Well, you can open the container and you know it's not for you. that is.
So it's just a little stinky. He's not there. We're not making cheese in the jug quite yet.
If he were to be some sort of consultant to a program, something like that, where you can tap into that wisdom, okay. But you want him to be your CEO day to day, not only on game day, but the face of your program, and in some cases, the face of your university.
He's not even that for his own life right now.
Well, I mean, hey, some schools would have been a better fit for somebody like a Bill Belichick. North Carolina, or even dare I say, your any of the better financed Power 4 schools, most of them probably wouldn't benefit from that. A lower resourced program, yes, especially if it needed some sort of discipline, those types of things. Bill Belichick would be an absolute fabulous hire. I would even say, if you wanted to look at it from the ACC perspective, Bill Belichick, I think, would have worked out great at Duke.
Oh, goodness gracious. And why?
Because, to be honest, it's not like Duke is going to go all out for football in terms of the way that it treats the game and things like that. It's a little bit more laid back in terms of the intensity for Duke football. And I think that somebody like Bill Belichick could have come in, you're going to win with defense. You're going to do things a certain way.
There'll be higher expectations for Duke football this year than Carolina football.
I'm talking about how, to me, Belichick would be a better fit at a place like Duke as opposed to a place like North Carolina. Or even if you move down to a lower level, like FCS, that kind of thing. But I'm just saying that if you're going to have these super high expectations of a coach turning your program around, a place like North Carolina is not a good fit for a Belichick. You would, if you're Alabama, would you hire it? I would think not.
But Carolina's still a basketball school. No matter how much they want to try to put their eggs into football,
I understand
they still stink.
And that is why this is such a poor fit. I'm just saying. To me, that's what makes him a poor fit. But a place like Duke, where you You know what you are athletically. Duke is going to be a basketball school. You have to climb a really tall tree for football to eclipse basketball on that campus.
It's not going to eclipse it at Carolina either. So I'm missing your point because
But
Duke won 8 games last year.
I understand that. But I'm just saying, though, is North Carolina, I guess because of the branding or because of the alumni base or whatever, they want to see themselves as good at everything.
They're wine and cheese.
They want to be good at everything.
Wine and cheese. Anyway,
so
but
that's
before
why
I
they
dig
would
myself a grave,
Well, hand me the shovel once you've dug it.
I know
I'll fill it in.
you'll pat the dirt dry. You'll pat it down nice and firm. I believe me, I know. But back to what I was saying about familiar faces.
Yeah.
Jordan Shipp, receiver from Providence Day, right here down the road in Charlotte, off Sardis Road. Second or third year, I believe it's the second year at North Carolina. One of the handful that stuck around for the Bill Belichick era. So, lots of familiar faces. But I did want to get your thoughts on who do you think is going to win the ACC this year? After what? Good gracious, it was an absolute dandy of a game between SMU and Clemson at Bank of America last year. Which another local face, he won't necessarily be coming with Clemson to the media day, but Nolan Hauser from Huff, kicker, knocked in a long field goal. I know it was the funniest thing too. Some, I guess, just generic media that really didn't know where he was from, this, that, and the other. Like, a freshman kicking a 50-plus yarder to win it. I think it was 48, 49, but kicking a 50-yarder to win this thing, I don't think he's going to make it. I'm like, this kid's got ice in his veins. He's going to make it.
Yeah, and he did.
Right down the pipe. I'm like, sometimes you just know. That kid was special at Huff, and he's proven to be special for Clemson. I just think it's going to be a fun year for the ACC. Not just because of the Bill Belichick stuff, but there's a lot of teams that can make a run at it this year.
Like who?
I
mean, I have my...
I think Clemson's going to be your favorite.
Well, yeah, that's the sexy and safe pick.
But, I mean, SMU could be right back in the mix.
Yeah.
I think Duke's a few years away, but they've got the quarterback to do it this year.
And a really good coach.
Really good coach, and they returned a lot. They lost Star Thomas, their running back. I think he went to Texas. I don't know. He went to a bigger school with, I'm sure, much more NIL money that could be allotted to him. But Darian Mensah's a stud. Came from Tulane. I know a lot of Charlotte fans, 49er fans. Well, they know who Darian Mensah is. Won the AAC last year, so he's a good player. I think he's going to prove to a lot of Duke naysayers that he is better than Malik Murphy, who they had last year. I know, at least looking at some Duke message boards and stuff, they're not super confident he can be like that guy. Believe me, he can be that guy.
Are they holding it against him because he played at a Group of 5 program?
Probably. I mean, nothing that I've read just out and out says that, but there's always going to be a little hesitancy. Oh, this guy's coming up a level. Is he going to be shell-shocked when he gets... That guy's going to be 270 a game, 3 tutties a game type. He's that good.
I don't doubt that.
So, yeah, I mean, look, the safe pick, obviously, is Clemson, but how good can Louisville be? How good can Virginia Tech be? I know a lot of these teams that have been really good in the past have faltered a little bit, haven't had as great a years in recent seasons.
Florida State, anybody?
I know. I mean, in Georgia Tech, who beat Florida State in what that overseas Germany or wherever they played to start the year last year. I just think there's a lot of parity around this league. Miami. I mean, let's not forget, Miami had the number 1 draft pick in Cam Ward, and they reload and get Carson Beck at quarterback, who played at Georgia. I just think it's going to be very interesting. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. And the thing that I can't forget is last year when there was the narrative going around the ACC. that somehow nationally no one was putting any respect on the conference's name.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be an issue again this year in a world where the SEC and the Big Ten are 1A and 1B and everybody else is just playing just to be playing?
It'll still be the case. Now, issue is about what you make of it. If I'm the, I mean, I don't want to be that guy to say, I'll know your place. But the ACC is not going to compete with the SEC right now as far as being a football conference. Do they have good teams? Yes. Do they have teams that are going to compete in bowls that can compete to make the CFP? Yes. Now with the multi-bid, thing and all that, yes. They're just not the SEC and Big Ten level. I don't think there's anything that's going to change that in the immediate future, but I think it could be a league with some of the most top to bottom parity. I think any given day, I think Stanford maybe.
They're the California schools. You might want to tamper.
I think a Pitt could beat a Clemson. I think it could happen. I don't think there's going to be a team that's just going to dog walk everybody week in and week out, unless it's Alabama, LSU, or Alabama, Georgia. Georgia, Alabama, and LSU going to dog walk pretty much everybody else in that conference. It happens.
Yeah, well, the way it's been the last few seasons.
Unless it's like an outlier, like an Ole Miss or something.
Florida.
Or very rarely.
Yeah.
So, at least to me, that's why I like this conference a little bit better from a purist perspective of wanting to see upsets and things like that. I think you could see a few happen this year. But yeah. The back half of that week, AAC.
Yeah, let's not forget them.
Also coming to town. They're
Mm-hmm.
going to be at pretty much just down the street. But Charlotte entering the Tim Albin era. I wonder how many questions Tim Albin will get asked. Because if it were Biff, he'd be banging the podium and getting all up in arms. Now, Tim Albin's the coach. He'd be like, 3 questions? I can go?
Yeah. It's been a good day.
But about that third question mark, his introductory press conference, that man was like, he was starting to sweat. To me, this would be the perfect year for a team like Charlotte just to break out and have a shock and all type season, because at least for me, my expectations are at an all-time low. And that's saying something, considering you come from a coach that in both of his seasons, he hyped up the team, much more reserved in the second year as far as managing those expectations. But you got a guy that comes in year one, we're going to win the league.
And does it.
Are you? Are you? But not to give Biff too much flack. Believe me, the fan base does a good enough job at that. I just think this year, everything's so kept very tight to the vest and kept quiet that you really don't know what to expect from this team. I do know they lost Don Chaney, who subsequently was the 49ers' best player on the new college football game. I know I played the first game with Charlotte, and I'm like, oh, Don Chaney's still on the team. And he's the best player on the team.
Maybe the transfer notice didn't arrive in time.
Apparently not. Nothing really came out as far as what all went down there. I'm not going to speculate because, truth be told, I don't know. And I'm not going to report anything based on speculation. But I know he's not on the roster. There was something that happened. What that is, I don't know. And so, I don't know who they're going to start at running back. I know I gave a lot of praise to Rod Gainey before the I guess spring camp or whatever they call it, spring practices. I'd like to see Henry Rutledge step up and become more of a contributor in the run game rather than just on the
as a
returner. Thank you. I just this is going to be the year that fans are either going to be like, okay, we had a tough schedule, we had to manage our expectations, or if they blow it out of the water and they win like 6 or 7 games, they're going to be like, oh man, Tim Albin's like the next great thing. What are your expectations for this team? Because I know we've talked about it in the past about how this schedule is nothing short of a bear. Vegas only has the over-under win total at 2.5 games. What do you see this team being able to obtain?
This is the one instance where low expectations or no expectations is actually a good thing because it's so quiet. It's so, like you said, close to the vest. You don't know what to expect. And if you're a new coach, you bring in a new culture.
You probably like that.
Yeah. So don't expect anything out of us.
Rather than put all that pressure on your team to perform. So
yeah. But in the event that they surprise a lot of people and manage 5 or 6 wins, then it sets the expectations even higher in season 2. And maybe that is something that you can actually live with as opposed to let's just do something really magical first season out. And generally when a program undergoes that type of change, you don't set any expectations other than, learn your way around campus and figure out your new conference.
Not we're the guys to beat.
Yeah.
And I think you said it perfectly time and time again. Biff set himself up for failure. I think what Albin's doing is setting the bar where the floor should be.
I think it's where the basement is right now.
Well, that's even more so my point, even more extreme. He's setting the bar so, rather non-existent that anything they achieve better than going winless is a good thing. Now if he goes winless, oh boy, Mike Hill gonna be like, oh dude, win a game for me, please.
Or he may not be able to outlast that.
And look, I mean, Mike's as good as gold to me as anybody I've ever worked with and around. I want Albin to be successful for his sake. I know a lot of people would give him so much flack about not being successful in the barbershop sports, football and basketball. But what he's done as far as overall with that athletic program, they've made strides in a lot of sports other than just the few that people seem to want to put money towards and care about. And that is the measuring stick for an athletic director, is what you do in those said sports. And he thought he had a hit with Will Healy, but again, that first season was with a lot of Brad Lambert's players, and Will didn't recruit that well. I mean, I hate to say it, I don't think he recruited that well. And then I think Biff, he had a heart for the kids, but I think with the lack of college coaching experience,
head coaching or coordinating.
Oh yeah, with just the lack of that experience, he was a defensive analyst for Michigan. Great high school coach, but how many times have we seen great high school coaches go to college and be like, "This ain't for me"? I mean, look at Tom Knotts. So this hire needs to work. I'll just leave it at that.
No doubt about it.
Because right now Aaron Fern's doing what he can to kind of keep basketball with their nose above water. Tamika Reed's first year wasn't stellar. Couple of decent results here and there, but she'll need a better second year, in my opinion, to stick around. I mean, as will Fern. So,
well, and the other thing too, regardless of the sport or the fan base or whatever, when you come in and if you have any success and you're making a decent run, the thing that most folks are interested in, well, 2 things: hope and titles. If you don't have hope, then chances are you're not going to get any titles either. So first things first, Charlotte needs to have a season that gives their fans hope. That's not to say go out and win the AAC championship in the first season. That would be nothing short of miraculous.
Yeah.
But you at least have to set the stage for people to understand, well, maybe we're on to something. And to me, you get 5 or 6 wins out of the deal. 6 wins makes you bowl eligible. You toss a parade for them in University City if they get to that level.
It's true.
So it'll be interesting to see how they do on the field. But I'm also curious to see how Media Day unfolds in terms of how the new coach and his players, how they interact, how they talk about what's going on. And I know there'll be all the platitudes. Oh, great coach. Oh, great players. Oh, we're going to have a great season. Give me a break. Be real.
No, there's going to be a lot of coach speak. And believe me, it's not just Charlotte.
It's everybody.
All these teams, they're coached as to what to say.
Yeah, it's everybody. But
makes our jobs harder.
Yeah, but you also know we're going into a new season. The story hasn't been written. The story hasn't been told. It's yet to unfold. But there is something to be said about your expectations. And just to say, oh, I expect our kids to have a great grade points. Well, heck, that's what college is for, right? You're supposed to be there to do something academically. But unfortunately, we also live in an era now when nobody really cares about your academics. All they want to know is, what's that win-loss record going to look like? So I'm looking forward to it in terms of maybe having an opportunity to look back in 3 or 4 months and say, well, this is what they talked about in July. And now that November is here,
this is what's happening.
Yeah, they are what their record says they are.
Well, I can tell you this. We'll be there to cover it all.
Yes, we will.
Oh, boy, that is going to be one busy week. Because along with that, quick little plug for the high school folks, the conference, I can't remember what they're calling themselves now, but
everybody's got a new name.
It's the MEC Power 6. That's what it is. Independence, Butler, Mallard Creek, North MEC, West Charlotte. What's that sixth one?
I have no
Chambers.
Idea. Oh, there you go.
Boom. Okay, I memorized one conference. They're having their media day that week as well. If I can stretch myself that thin, which I could use some trimming, but I will try to go out to that as well. And we'll do some high school coverage because I know it seemed to gain a lot of traction when we would go to the Magnificent Seven. Oh, that's coming back. That's going to be good. I can't wait to critique that. With that, a lot of people enjoyed us going through those, doing the rankings. Kids get giddy when they're like, "Oh, did we make the cut this year? Or did we make the cut this week? Did we do it?" So that'll all be back. Football's right around the corner. Johnson C. Smith, Charlotte, ACC. What little bit we do with that, it's all coming at you. And I'll break us down. You know where to find all of our sports coverage at thecharlottepost.com. Make sure to type in the
THE
charlottepost.com because you type in Charlotte Post, I got something with a swastika come up and do a little dance or what. Yeah, it was weird. thecharlottepost.com. Make sure to subscribe, donate. While the journalism to access is free on the website, it ain't free to produce. So as Herb says, we'll take your money however we can get it to give y'all the best quality reporting here in the Charlotte area. So from me, myself, Herb, everyone in the office, right out there, Ian.
Beautiful Derrida.
Have a great rest of the week. Thanks for listening and watching.